And, had a chance to come here in 2006, right out of high school.
Okay.
So first my family, like between my parents, to actually go to college and graduate. So I graduated in 4 years, and basically the key to the graduation was because of me getting a mentor. It started off with an organization called Real Life 101. It's a national mentoring and scholarship program for African American males. It was just locally here in Detroit during that time, but now it's a national program, and basically the program just saved my life, man. I was able to be exposed to men who were like businessmen, doctors, lawyers, very successful
That look
men.
like you.
Yeah.
Right.
Things I never saw growing up in Detroit, like the true inner city of Detroit, the Joe Road, Illinois area. So it was unique. I just did a speech this past June, and like on my ID, you'll see 48204.
Right.
I live in Canton now, but that was ranked as the most dangerous zip code in the country.
Right.
And so just to make it out of that area and to get to a small private institution where I feel safe and secure, just totally thankful to God. So that was a blessing. I pursued a CJ criminal justice degree, graduated in 4 years. I had a chance to intern with the U.S. Marshals, the ATF, and then I interned with the United States Secret Service in Washington, D.C. That pictures with Michelle Obama. Had a chance to meet her, had a chance to drive in her motorcade, actually.
Oh, awesome.
So I was on track to become a federal agent. And then there was a time where I went into Wayne County jail cell, and I just saw all these young men that looked just like myself. Only thing, they just had like the beards and their hairline, the hair was just everywhere.
Right.
And I was just like, do I really want to lock these people up? Or what if I had a chance to mentor a group of them in the community and help break this cycle? And so that's when I started thinking about mentoring. And so I joined Big Brothers Big Sisters while I was in college. And I was still pursuing the criminal justice route. And then the U.S. Marshals actually offered me a job offer, a conditional job offer. And I went through the entire hiring process with the Marshals. I was waiting to go to the Federal Training and Law Enforcement Academy down in Glencoe, Georgia. And they discontinued my recruitment drive. And that was on March 1st.
Why did it discontinue? What was the reason?
Because they said it was unconstitutional for regular civilians to apply to become a U.S. Marshal compared to those who were in the armed forces, and they had no idea about the Marshals were recruiting. So basically, it was like a cult. Basically, the Marshals were recruiting or putting people through something called an FCIP, Hire and Drive, Federal Career Intern Program, but other people wasn't having that same opportunity.
Right.
So they had to revamp, and they had to recruit openly and to the public so it can be fair. And that was March 1st of 2011. Then I created this Bridge and Loss Capture program, March 16, 2011.
Oh, really?
15 days later. So
this is the program you created?
Based upon my life. And so my birthday is January 15th, and that's the same day as Martin Luther King's.
Right.
So I was just like, man, if I'm going to spend my life doing something, I want to leave a legacy behind.
Exactly.
And so BLG, Brown and George, that's my government name, and I just wanted to leave something behind that I can be remembered for. And so hopefully this is the avenue and everything. But why did I create this? It was clear as day. Low enrollment, retention, and graduation rates of African American males here at this institution. Not only at this institution, but on a national level. I mean, when you look at every other ethnic group and you look at the other gender group, being females, African Americans are at the bottom. And I was just like, we have to change this.
So what do you think helped you, make it? What was the factors that helped you to stay in school and graduate?
It was really 4 things. It was the mentor setting expectations for me. It was the mentor in the university providing the support for me to meet those expectations. It was that mentor and that comfortable environment providing assessment and feedback. Hey, Brian, you're doing this right. Hey, you are doing this wrong. But then it was that engagement and involvement I didn't have a spring break. I was always at an intern, or I was doing a service trip, or I was trying to help out in the community. I was engaged and involved, so I didn't have a lot of idle time. Although I played basketball here and ran cross country, I was always busy athletically. This award, it's a 2010 Male Scholar Athlete of the Year award. And the story behind this is I started off college with a 2.0 GPA. I had a 14 on my ACT, and I graduated Northwestern with a 2.8 overall. I carried a 4.0 my final 2 years of college.
Sweet.
And came out as, the top scholar athlete, and
so we got something in common.
Yeah. So when I saw that about you, I was like, wow. I remember that as a child, and I always told myself I wanted to be something, and I just needed to fall in love with something, which was education. I eventually fallen in love with, but it was just the support. And you coming out here, no gunshots. The police is very, their presence is everywhere. It's a normal environment, but then living there, it's hard to function. It's hard to dream when you always have to worry, or your brain still is just on that mode of survival. I'm just trying to survive. But here you can actually thrive. You can actually be whatever you want to be. So
plus, I mean, people in the hood, their mindset and their mentality is totally different. You know what I mean? Their goals don't exceed the borders of 8 Mile and whatever. You know what I mean? When you come out here, it seems like, I experienced the same. Because even though Wayne State is within Detroit, it's not part of Detroit. Because it's so different. It's like a whole different community and a whole different. When I was exposed to that, I was like, man, wow, people live like this. Like people do this. I mean, And so I'm like, man, what have I been missing? And so I just engulfed myself into that whole environment. I didn't have a mentorship program or anything like that. What drove me was my son. I mean, at the time he was just born. I was a single parent, and so he was the only thing I had to drive me. And I would often tell people, when you are reaching for success, when you have a goal, you have to have a significant why. I mean, why are you doing this? Because your why is going to be connected to your passion, and your passion is what drives you. Okay, if your why is connected to something material, you're not going to wake up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and start cracking open your textbook or open up the laptop. But my why was very significant. I wanted a life for my son. I wanted him to live something different than I had. I wanted to be an example for him. And so that was my why. And I always tell people, I wasn't the smartest person in the class, but I will outwork the person. I will outwork somebody to death. Me too. I wasn't the smartest person because I had to study. When I spent 60 hours literally studying, and I talk about that in my book. Man, it's like I studied. This just didn't happen that I was able to do this. I had to put forth effort upon effort. That's the only way I was able to achieve it. Wow. And so it's your why has to be very important. Your why has to be significant enough for you to be willing to die for it. Yep. A lot of people say, hey, I'm living for this, I'm living for that. But my thing is, what are you dying for? Because each day, that's how I see it. In my mind, I don't see it as me living a life. I'm seeing me, what am I going to die for? Because eventually, that's what it's leading to. Yep. And so if you realize that, if you put that importance in your head, that urgency is there. And so then I think you'd be more willing to you won't procrastinate as much, or you'd be more in tune on what you're doing and how you're spending your time and things like that. What are you willing to die for?
That's huge.
Yeah, so
man, preaching, man. Absolutely.
And that's what I tell people, man. What are you willing to die for? Seriously. Not live for, because when you say live, it's like you live in. Yeah. There's no end date to that. There's no end date. So if you don't have an end date, there's no urgency. But when you say what am I dying for, it's urgency in that. It's meaning in that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You hit it right on point. I just went to Jamaica. I went on a cruise, and I saw Jamaica on TV, but I really didn't know how poor they really are over there. His mother said, "Can I have $1? I'm trying to get my son some shoes so he can walk to school, so he don't have to walk barefooted." And then I wound up giving them the flip flops off my foot, and I felt bad. That's all I had on. But she's like, same thing. He can die because of his foot can get infected, and from the infection, it can, you know, take over his body. It can become an illness. And I'm like, this kid is still willing to walk to school, although death presents itself greatly. Right. I mean, that is perfect. And that's what I kept telling myself. Man, I'm willing to die to become something.
Exactly.
Become something great and leave something behind. And that why is huge, man.
Yeah.
So you are right.
I mean, I heard because Will Smith is actually a deep guy.
Yeah. Oh,
I had the Will's Wisdom. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
And when he was like, you know, I'm willing to build. I mean, he was talking about a treadmill.
Yep.
He was like, you might be faster, but I'm willing to die for this. There's no room for Plan B because you know that takes away from Plan A. I'm willing to die for this. You know, I listened to that like 12 weeks straight every day, like boom, boom, okay, boom.
Yeah, me too, man.
And him and I talking about the wall and everything.
That's what I was about to say. You lay one brick at a time.
Right. And see that's so true because people look at it like if I was to sit back like, man, I have to spend 4 years in school just to get a degree. But I ain't look at it like that. I look at it at class. Okay, what do I have to do right now for this one class or this one assignment? Then I just built on assignment. Next thing you know, that class was done. Same thing, assignment. That class was done. I didn't look at because if you just sit back and look like, man, 4 years is a long time. But if you look at it like in portions, it's more manageable. You know,
way more manageable.
I mean, you just perform as best as you possibly can in that one class, and next thing you know, you end up graduating.
And that's how I put it. Every syllabus, every study guide, every note, every exam, every midterm, every final.
Right.
Like, you know, every semester, every year.
Right.
You put those 4 walls together, 4 years, you're going to put on that graduation cap, which is that roof.
Exactly.
Simple as
that. Perfect analogy. Right, exactly.
Simple as that. I used that actually in a speech I did back in 2010. Just like that. That's powerful.
Yeah, man.
Man, we got a lot in common.